David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So yesterday, I couldn't be fucked talking about it because it was a long fucking day, but hyperextended my fucking ring finger on my right hand pretty fucking badly. Like, it got caught up as I was going along the scissor lift, hanging this fucking membrane, and I was rolling it out, and the tip of the ring finger got caught as I was going along and fucking ripped back. And when it happened, I was like, fuck, that's definitely dislocated. I was expecting to see it at a right angle, but it was all right. And the pain was excruciating for like 5 minutes. It was extraordinarily painful. And then I fucking just pushed through. I was like, it's not too bad. Like, it's still extremely painful and I can barely bend it, but I can push through. So I did. Then, like, 15 minutes later, I was like, fuck that. I'm going to report this just in case there's some ligament damage or something like that, because there was problems with it. And then when I was feeling around, there was this fucking lump at the base of my fucking finger, like where the knuckle joins your hand on the palm side. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I'm definitely reporting it. Went to the first aider. The first aider, oh my God, he could barely spell. And then he was trying to diagnose what's happened to my finger. So he was filling out a form first and asking me my address, my name, and all that sort of stuff. And he was like, how do you spell that? I'm like, David. And I was like, Stone. And he's like, so what's that? Is that an S and I'm like, a T. And his handwriting was the equivalent of like my son's, an 8-year-old's. And then he grabs my hand and he's like, nah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. And I'm like, feel this. And he's like, all right, that could be ligament damage. I'm like, what the fuck is a ligament? He's like, it's a muscle. I'm like, who is this cunt? Can someone get me a fucking doctor? So he gave me an ice pack and I put that on and the pain went up tenfold. And I'm like, I can't keep this on. He's like, keep the ice pack on. I'm like, it's fucking killing me. Anyway, I end up going to the fucking doctor, but the project's doctor, like the big fucking project. So they have their own occupational fucking doctors that look after work injuries. So I get VIP'd into there and the doctor sees me. He's like, when you've got this sort of shit, it's like the NDIS, the National Disability Insurance scam that they've got in Australia. It's like they do whatever the fuck they can just to milk some more money out of you. I don't know if you've heard about it in Australia, but this National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS, has to be the biggest fucking rort in the history of the country, for sure, possibly the world. Money is just being printed and just handed out to anyone on disability, which can range from schizophrenia to paraplegics to someone who's sad, then also fat people, people with sore necks. Like, the only thing propping up the Australian economy right now is the fucking NDIS. If you took away the fucking NDIS, the Australian economy would collapse. I think GDP grew in Australia by like 0.3%. And there were 600,000 new immigrants to Australia this year, and the NDIS. So what happens on disability here is you get your like fortnightly disability allowance, which is like around $700 a week. So $1,400. Maybe it's a little bit less. Maybe it's $1,300, but it's quite high. And then on top of that, you get like a kitty of money, depending on your disability and what's been worked out. you get between like 50,000 to 110, 120,000. It can go much higher and much less, but that kitty can be used for doctors, for medicines, for like training, for what else? Holidays. You can go on holidays on the NDIS. So just say you've got like 10, 15, 20,000 dollars of this kitty left at the end of the year. You can take, I forget what it's called. It's something like fucking respite leave or something like that. So you need to take a break from or recreation or something like that. Anyway, you can go to Queensland for a week with a carer with the leftover $20,000. The carer gets paid like $1,000 a day, and you can stay in a 5-star hotel. You can go to fucking Dream World and Movie World, Sea World. You can fucking have a good old time on your disability. It's fucking crazy what's going on. A guy at work, his daughter is autistic and she has some other thing going on. And he was telling me she's on the NDIS and they need a speech therapist for her. And the speech therapist comes in and it was a half an hour consultation and it cost $2,000 out of the NDIS kitty. So she's an approved speech pathologist. And if it wasn't through the NDIS, that would have cost $200. So it's a big scam from top to bottom, but it is actually significantly propping up the Australian economy. But the same sort of thing happened to me when I hurt my finger. I went to this doctor. He looked at my finger. Then he sent me to an x-ray, which they get fucking money for. Then he's like, scratching his head. He's like, I'm trying to figure it out. He's like, you better go see the physio as well. And the physio's in the same room. So I went over and saw the physio. He's scratching his head. He's like, you need some tape. And he gave me some tape so I could tape my finger to my pinky finger. And all that gets charged, not to me, but to the project, which is a government-funded project as well. Probably fucking $5,000 worth of charges just for some bullshit. And the prognosis was I've got a sore finger. It hyperextended. The little ball thing at the base of my finger, they reckon it's just been there forever. And it just so happens that I've heard it. And because I'm fucking feeling around, I found it. But they're not sure about that either. They need some MRI scans. I got to go back in on Monday. I don't care because it's like 2 hours out of the day and also I'm not paying for it. So it's all cool. But yeah, the finger is pretty fucking sore. I had it taped up against my pinky finger last night. And in the middle of the night, because I hadn't moved my pinky all day, my pinky finger just fucking started cramping and I cracked my knuckles. And I just needed to crack my pinky finger and it was taped up and I couldn't fucking rip the tape off in my sleep. So I'm like trying to rip it. Because I don't want to get up because I have to fucking be up at like 5:30. So I'm just trying to rip it and then it was fucking too hard and then it was ripping the hair out on my knuckles. So I had to wake up and cut it off and then go back to sleep for like 10 minutes. Anyway, fucking, that's that. NDIS is a scam, but it's also propping up the economy, and Boyle hyperextended his finger. That's today's jam. Anyway, that'll do it for today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you the fuck later.